Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Pulp Blotter Book Club on 22 Panels. I have with me again playwright and actor Mark Pratt and actor Sean Harklerode to talk some comics. Before we jump into Corto Maltese, I do have to quickly ask, how cool was it to go from 3 months of talking about Jonah Hex to talking to Jimmy about Jonah Hex?
That was
That
great.
was awesome. Um, I think I babbled my head off of. I was so excited about it.
Yeah,
And
no,
Jimmy noted I couldn't get a word in.
Well,
um
and then, Jimmy sort of obliquely offered to help me get some of his wife's artwork. So I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah,
"Ah."
yeah. Um but no, that was one of my new episode closing questions has been share a surreal experience from your time in comics because in the only 5 years, less than 5 years now that I've done this podcast, I feel like my life is like completely and utterly changed. The people I count among my friends and hang out with and talk to and whatnot are just like people that so many of them are people that 10 years ago you'd say, oh, you're just gonna chat with this person on a regular basis, and I would have gone, yeah, fuck you. You're out of your mind. um that sort of thing and that is one of those things for me, particularly because I you guys don't always get to see it and I don't always share, but I have a very autistic brain, and I also have learned on a lot of things, if I don't do it right now, if I let myself think about it rather than just doing it, I'll talk myself out of it. So I literally did 80% of the legwork to get Jimmy while we were recording one of our third Jonah Hex episode. I'm like, oh, we really should talk to Jimmy. So I emailed Jimmy, and then I heard back from Jimmy to email his assistant, and I emailed his assistant, and then I heard back from his assistant, and then we finished our episode, and then I finished negotiating. Um, so it was
Well,
it
I
was
mean,
it was
that was
crazy and
that was
fun.
super exciting for me, and
Yeah,
I followed up with him and just thanked him for doing it, and it
yeah.
was really a
No,
great
he's a great
conversation
guy.
and
I need to
great
follow
guy.
up again
I mean, I would love to
because he
if we
seemed interested in coming back to talk more about all sorts of things.
yeah, I'm
So,
totally down for that. And
yeah,
the I Pop what's the name of the book? Pop Kill.
pop kill. Yeah,
I need to I it's on my list to get a
yeah.
copy and read that because that sounded hilarious
It
and
is hilarious. It
totally
is
vaguely
nuts.
offensive, and I love totally hilarious and offensive. So
Right,
uh,
right. Um,
like intentionally, I'm not saying
right.
that Jimmy
But
writes
no, no,
offensive
no,
comics.
no,
It's
no, no,
just
no. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, for hilarious and offensive, well, no, not really offensive, and only kind
well,
of hilarious. We'll pivot now to Corto Maltese, which um Corto Maltese represents to me, and I'm so happy that so many of the items that are on this list have been getting reprinted in the last year or
mhm.
two, because it represents one of those things that I had heard about and heard about and heard about and heard about and not been able to lay my hands on.
Mhm.
I've read a short story here, a short story there. I think I have one reprint volume from God knows when. Um,
I mean, this is a book that I remember when I was in the 80s when I was going into my LCS in Colorado Springs. They would have collected editions, and I'd always be,
and I think that
I
was the
was,
last time it was in print.
and I mean, and I was like, I don't know, 12, 13. I was like, what the hell is that?
Right.
Until, I mean, there was the moment when, it I should let Sean talk about that. The one reference to Corto Maltese that I remembered.
Right. Uh, yeah. Until you asked us to do this podcast, I was under the impression that Corto Maltese referred to, a South American country, uh, you know, from references in The Dark Knight Returns and
Right.
the '89 Batman film. I
Right.
figured, I figured that it was a strip, an adventure strip, but I thought it was set in a locale called Corto
Right.
Maltese. Um, so, so
So
I learned,
like that's a perfect segue to one of the sillier things that I noticed that I don't want to spend a ton of time with because I can't answer this question. But so did either of you get a chance to read the Kim Thompson essay at the end? I read like two-thirds of it.
I
Um,
I in general, I don't when we're doing something like this in general, I don't like to read the ancillary. Like I'd rather have my own
okay,
opinion about it. And
that's fine.
then yeah.
yeah,
The
I
the
read it.
the the Kim Thompson essay though it was actually as much like biographical and kind of given the old stuff. And I noticed something, something jumped out at me. His first big character was Sergeant Kirk.
Right.
His second big character was Ernie Pike. So
More horrifying.
I'm wondering if Roddenberry was also a Hugo Pratt.
Or or were Hugo Pratt and Roddenberry reading the same
I mean, that's possible,
pulp
Was,
magazine or whatever that had a character named Kirk or Pike in it, you know?
was there a
right?
character named
Right?
April in this too? I don't remember. Was there an
Yeah.
Abril maybe or something?
I don't know.
Um,
Um, but it did particularly because it was like the first two. I just went,
yeah.
that's
Hmm.
interesting.
Well,
Also at
oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. I
I
mean,
was
to
just gonna
me,
say
the
you get to
Universal,
go. You're
okay, the
going.
Universal horror kid in me, also fanboyed out a little bit to learn that Hugo Pratt is related through his grandfather to the great British actor Henry Pratt, whom we all know as Boris Karloff.
Right.
That
Right.
is awesome.
Um, but also it was fascinating to learn that uh, uh he had really traveled the world both as a kid
Yeah,
because his family moved, but then as an adult because like he was kind of starting to get known in Italy, but not a ton, and in Argentine offered to buy out their company. So it's like, sure, we'll move to Argentina and make comics. And then eventually it was moved to France and make comics. And it's all the same comics, but
Eventually everything moves to France to make comics, you know?
well, I mean, France is, I mean, the
Oh yeah, yeah,
three
yeah.
biggest countries for comics are the United States, Japan, and France.
Sure.
Um,
Well, and then and France.
and that's just Jerry Lewis.
Sorry, that
is he
tickled my
big in
funny bone.
Japan?
Um, oh
Uh,
no, oh no, there,
no, but he's big enough in France to make up for it.
Okay.
well, and plus Jerry Lewis in Japan suggested a something that I didn't really want to dive
Yeah.
into.
Yeah.
Um, but I think
You're thinking of
I think
Mickey Rooney.
well, come on, Jerry too. Come on. Um,
Yeah.
I've seen Hardly Working.
I
Isn't
saw it
that
in
what
the
it's called?
theater.
Oh my God. You and three other people. Anyway, uh but like I'm always fascinated by the French uh comic obsession with the not obsession, but I mean like that they really do these adventure strips very well. I mean like Blueberry,
Hmm.
who I don't think either of you have read, but I've read like
I
one
have.
Blueberry story,
No, I've
and
read most of Blueberry.
uh, and
I mean, dude,
again,
Mobius before he was
right,
Mobius.
right,
And I
um,
love a good Western strip.
right, and
Yeah.
So before he was bitten by the vampire. Oh,
Yeah.
Mobius.
Yes.
Sorry.
wah wah. Look, we know who the Marvel zombie here is. But but yeah, no, I'm always struck by that. I actually, it does like I was something I was talking to Sean about. Like the one thing that I would say about this book that I was sort of like is I feel like the translation feels very literal rather than uh an artistic translation, if that's
That's
what
possible.
I mean, I think it feels very word to word and it feels kind of stilted at times. I mean, I'm not, and I think
So,
there's value in doing that, but there's also value in taking it and allowing it to be adapted into the idiom of the English language.
the one thing that I will also mention is there are a couple of spots where I think they do something that I wonder if it happens more in foreign comics, where it'll end one thought bubble with your ellipsis and start the next one with it. And I think that it's rather than being, oh, this is continuing that sentence, it's supposed to indicate, oh, and they talk for 10 more minutes and wrap up with this.
That's
Oh,
possible.
because it threw me like the first time I saw it, but as I saw it more times, I'm like, oh, I don't think this is just supposed to be, oh, this is a finishing the sentence. The reason that this doesn't read quite right is that you're supposed to kind of infer that there was more discussion, but these are the parts that you need.
Right.
Well, I mean, I also, I thought one thing that I did think about as I was reading it, and again, like this is all very light criticism. Like I really
Right.
enjoyed reading this. Um, is like I thought about when we're in our Kirby series, like what you often say of like, I wish there was fewer words.
Hmm.
There are times when I'm like, it seems to me that they could have like let the art carry this a little more.
Definitely.
Um,
Yeah.
uh, and the art style is super cool. I mean,
Yeah.
uh, and I love the characters. I love it's got a very it's sort of like I hate to invoke Lucas, but it's got kind of that Star Wars thing of like, okay, here we are.
Well, no, I actually,
Yeah. There is.
I'll invoke Lucas in a different way, particularly reading that first multi-part story,
Mhm.
the Fable of Venice. It
Yeah.
felt so Indiana Jones.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Right.
like this whole thing feels Indiana Jones to me.
Uh,
Like that
I
that
mean, like I would be shocked if Corto Maltese wasn't a major influence on Indiana Jones.
what? Oh, excuse
It,
me.
to me, it definitely Indiana Jones. It reminded me most, and I think the art style too, reminded me of Roy Crane,
Hmm.
Captain Easy. Um,
Yeah.
and obviously he's influenced by Pat Ryan from
Yeah.
Terry and the Pirates. I mean, that's
No, he's
totally.
definitely. I mean, in the essay at the end, it talks about him being a major Caniff
Yeah.
um
Yeah. I mean, his first appearance is
disciple.
is
Right.
is an homage to
Right.
Kniff image. So
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I think that a lot of this stuff, I think Terry and the Pirates and Kniff is such like I think that is ground zero for so much of this stuff as
Yeah.
it went forward. I mean, it's sort of
Well, and Captain Easy. I forget which came first, Captain Easy or Terry and the Pirates. They were
Captain.
right. I think Captain Easy was a little bit ahead.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, like the whole thing, like I can see it's very clear to me that there were hundreds and hundreds of cartoonists all over the world who opened up their newspaper and saw Terry and the Pirates and were like, "What's this? Oh my
right,
God!" You know, and it's like,
right.
we're chasing that for a long time. I mean, even down to, you can go
Yeah,
as far as to say,
Captain Easy predates Terry and the Pirates by about a year.
hmm although, like,
Actually, a little bit more.
uh, but like the only thing that I'll say about that, I think Captain Easy is like I intellectually know what Captain Easy is. I've read
No,
about
no,
Captain
no.
Easy. I have never seen a panel of Captain Easy. I
Well,
have
we
seen
should fix
ton.
that. We should
Yeah.
fix that. We did I mean, we've done both Milt Caniff and Roy Crane on our comic strip book club,
Yeah.
and I love them both. But Roy Roy Crane is like the cartoonist. I think Kniff might actually be a slightly better writer, but but
Yeah.
Crane is like in a lot of ways he's like the
It's
Kirby of
fighting
the.
words, Tad. Kniff is like, to me, Kniff is the master.
I love Kniff. I love Kniff. I'm not like trying
Uh,
to bash Kniff at all. Um,
Tad, I know, I'm making a
I
joke.
yeah,
think I
yeah.
came across an episode of Steve Canyon last night on H&I.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Whew. Steve,
I
I
like the
know,
Steve
but
Canyon
look,
strip a lot too.
but that's if the DNA of all that stuff is so deeply embedded in this, and
Right.
then and the DNA of this and pairing the pirates and uh, all those the serials, the movie serials, all of that carries over into Raiders of the Lost Ark. I mean, like
Hmm.
it's a straight through line. You can put the the spirit in there. You can put
Yep.
like like all of that stuff is
An-
very
another
very
another lifted listed reference
yep
of Pratt was the spirit. He was reading Terry and the Pirate and the
yeah.
spirit and what was the other one that they.
Well, I mean, I think that it also like one of the things that I think really needs to, like, especially with these
Hal
adventure
Foster's
strips.
Tarzan.
Tar-
Yeah.
And Will, I don't know this one. Do you know this one, Sean? The Will Gould's Red Berry.
No, I didn't. I saw that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have
I
to
didn't know that.
look that one up.
To me,
But I
particularly that second story in the collection, they don't mention it, but to me, that was very Kubert-like, uh,
hmm
very Joe Kubert, uh,
hmm I mean, I have to say, I kind of like the shorter stories
which
better
they
than
probably
the longer story.
uh,
Yeah,
they're all using the same reference. They're all
Sure.
influenced by the same people, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
They're all influenced by Kniff,
Yeah.
and but yeah, that one just
Yeah.
felt there was just several panels in that one that I was like, wow, this could be Joe Kubert. Um,
Right.
I will also say, reading this on Kindle, um, it's best to read this in as large size as you can.
Yeah.
There's something about the
yeah.
compression of these images. It doesn't look very good. Um, and then you make it larger and it's like, oh wow, this is great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but just the compression.
Yeah. I was
Well,
struggling.
this
I
is
was,
this is where we should quickly point out for listeners. This is the first time on this book club that we're previewing a book. This is available in stores on March 17th, which is why we had PDFs to read. None of us had physical copies, even those of us who much prefer the physical copies because like they don't exist yet. But
well, yeah, like,
Fantagraphics was kind enough to grace us with some PDFs.
Yeah, and that's in
well,
no means it's gorgeous work.
Yes.
yeah.
And
Hmm.
I'm really looking forward. And they're doing full
Well,
color. They're doing a series. They're going to do the
Hmm.
whole thing, like six.
That's their plan.
Uh, so
I
I'm
mean, I
looking
don't
forward
think
to those coming.
Fantagraphics does digital editions for sale. Uh,
Yeah, they
I,
do.
I, I don't know because I've been trying. I
I
wanted to
have a lot
get,
of them. They don't do it for all of their stuff.
Right.
So it depends
Because
on what the rights are. They do
right.
less of the comic strips, but like all the Peanuts are available digitally,
I mean, yeah. That's all.
and the
I
Duck
just
books
know
are
that
available digitally.
I love Fantagraphics stuff. It's
Yeah.
just that the one that I was really See You in San Diego, I think they published, and it's never come out digitally. And that book is so big, I've always been like, I really wish I had a digital copy.
They have it was part of a Humble Bundle package
Uh,
a while
I
back.
mean, I made contact with the author at one point, and he actually sent me a PDF of it. But
Well, there you go.
PDF, like the
No, I get it.
with this working from this PDF, and this is like I'm complaining about technical stuff. Who cares? But I mean, to what Sean was saying, I really wanted to blow the images up,
Yeah,
but I also, when I'm reading, I like to see the whole page. Uh, so, and without having the panel by panel thing that you get with the comicsology stuff and mostly like because it was a little frustrating. Not
Yeah.
terribly so, but
but
um that's neither here nor there. That's me complaining about a stupid technical thing. Eh, meh. Anyway, but
I mean, Hugo Pratt was dead before that technical thing was even like possible.
well, he
So,
should have seen the future, Tad. I mean, look,
Uh,
I understand what you're saying, but it's also like other companies have figured out how have
oh, I
taken
know.
those things and broken them up. I'm just saying.
Well, no,
I'm just
again though that's where this is the galley copy.
sure, of
Um,
course, of course.
I'm certain that there will be panel by panel, or
I'm
if they do it digitally
whining.
at all, it will be available that way. Um,
What we're saying here is just go ahead and buy it in whatever format you would like
that
because you should buy it.
absolutely,
Everyone
yes,
should buy it. But
yes,
Mark Pratt, advanced reader, is just whining about something that was troubling to him as he was reading.
well, look,
And
I
it
mean,
does has nothing to do with the material itself.
it all goes back to, Burke Brethren complaining for years about the size of how his strips were printed.
Yeah,
And
right.
Schultz too, everyone,
yeah.
they were just squeezing uh, so many
Everything.
comics, and it just the work, you can't see how great it is at that small size sometimes.
I did have a point that I wanted to make about the whole Terry and the Pirates thing and the spirit and how much influence those had. I think that there is a very real connection between the fact that both of those, like all of that stuff, was in newspapers.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that you had to go find on a newsstand or there weren't any comic shops at that time, of course, but like you didn't have to go looking for it. It was actually delivered to your home. And
Right.
I think I think it is very uh I think it's just very important to remember that there was that getting this stuff in front of more people makes it more important. I don't know what I'm trying to say now. Forget it. But
You have
that's
a
the
It
point.
broader audience.
influences
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. It's
That
it's
makes
gonna have a
things
greater influence the more people. I mean, the thing about it being in the newspaper strip is it would wind up in the homes of people who weren't actually buying comics.
right. Well, and then in the case of like the spirit, like there was an actual comic book stuck inside your
Right.
newspaper. You know, and
Right.
that's super cool. Um,
Hmm. I
but
have
anyway,
one of those.
oh,
Well,
I have
really?
an actual insert from that I came across at half price books for like $10 once.
oh wow.
A spirit insert from like 1940 something.
Cool.
Incredible.
I
Yeah, the
would say
spirit.
regarding the translation we were talking about, I found that mostly in the first story. I
Yeah.
don't know
Yeah.
if I got used to it, or if maybe it was a different translation, but it felt the shorter stories um,
I think
better.
I think the shorter stories also are less dense with
Right.
Yeah.
uh back matter. There's a lot of exposition in that first story.
I mean that
There's
that
a
first story, as well as reminding me of Indiana Jones heavily, it had me think of like that issue of From Hell where they're just riding around London and he's giving him the Masonic history of the city.
Yeah. 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 I
yeah.
didn't make that connection, but I remember for that
Yeah.
book is so dense.
I'm like for me personally, actually, the last story, the So Much for the Gentleman of Fortune, is actually the one that really made me think of Indiana Jones, quite
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it was like, it was sort of the video game logic of like, okay, you get this thing and you put it here and but I mean, it also was just simple and direct and like, here's the thing, and and you have Rasputin as a villain, which
Right.
Yeah.
like there was things in this that I wasn't sure if Pratt was just dropping us into the something without explanation or like again because I am not that familiar with I'm familiar with Corto Maltese, but I'm not familiar with Corto Maltese.
Right. Me
So
too.
like are these taken from the middle of the run? Because it seemed like he had this relationship with Rasputin, and I'm like, God, what a great villain that no one has like people have used it, but I mean like I was sitting there thinking, God, wouldn't Rasputin have been a fucking incredible Indiana Jones villain?
Well, he was a Kingsman villain.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Um, yeah, I think because even in the first story, when he's dreaming, when he's knocked out, he dreams of Rasputin, which I
Yeah.
just thought was random at that point. But yeah, I mean, I think this is not the first of the run.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it
This
is
is probably a
because
teaser,
we
to get people interested in the bigger
we've
stuff.
got well, among other things, we've got for part of it, its original copyright is 1970, and for part of it, it's 77.
So
Right.
this is like
Well,
at least 2 to 3 years in. Um,
Right.
but because I also got that with Silver Legs or Silver
hmm
Leg and Boke or
Yeah,
Boiki,
yeah.
however you say his name.
Yeah, there's this suggestion that there's these relationships, and I
Right.
kept thinking, man, I bet you this was deeper if I knew what the relationship. It
The
actually very much reminded me way back at the beginning of this particular book club when we were reading Ms. Tree,
mm,
and those reprints started with like the DC Comics 90s issues, if I'm remembering correctly,
right,
because Max Allen Collins thought that was the best stuff they did, and they wanted to get
right.
people hooked with that, and then they could go back and do the stuff that he considered weaker. I do not agree with him, but 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 yeah, it's probably a similar thing to that. But I do have to say that when you read a series that does have some that feels like it this anyway feels like it has some actual continuity going on here, it does leave you thinking, wow, I feel like I'm kind of in the deep end of the pool. I don't necessarily hate that, but at the same time, I'm like, God, ah, what is this?
Yeah, but I kind of like that
Yeah,
quality because it was like you remember there was a time when like well even Indiana Jones and James
Kala.
Bond films used to
right,
start with the end of an adventure.
right,
And so you're dropped in and you don't know
right,
what's going on. You just know that Corto Maltese is in trouble, right?
right.
And he's
Well,
got to
yeah,
get out of it. And there's usually a short scene. And that was particularly the shorter stories reminded me of that feeling of
yeah.
here I am. You don't know
Well,
how
yeah,
I got here. And
I
that's also, and I think that's maybe why people look at this as literature.
hmm
Um, because there is so much story and so much explaining to do later, right?
right.
Um, yeah, I think his, you know, his exposition is really well timed and thought out, and illustrated,
Hmm.
right? When it kind of goes into, you're almost getting hieroglyphics on some pages.
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
a nice break.
Yeah.
Again, it's an
It,
artistic choice that I enjoyed.
yeah. Yeah.
No, I think that that can absolutely work where and sometimes it even winds up giving the creator that much more to play with going forward. Go ahead and just introduce the character when it makes sense in the story and
Yeah.
let them be somebody that they know already, and then suddenly you have another story to tell sometime,
Right.
you know,
I
rather
I
than
I
ra rather than having to spend half of your each new story. Oh, I'm gonna meet this person. No, you already know him.
Hey,
oh
we
yeah,
don't
no,
know
no.
how Indiana Jones met Sala. We still don't
No,
know how Indiana Jones met Sala,
yeah.
unless
Well,
we
he
just
met
said
him when he
young
filled his
Indiana Jones.
jalaba.
What?
I just, I sorry, I made a bad joke based on that John Rhys Davies story about shooting the scene where he was suffering with gastric distress and filled his jalaba. Anyway,
Um,
sorry.
yeah, yeah.
No, no, and look, I'm not trying to be like I'm saying that as I met these characters, it felt like there was something that had come
Yeah,
before,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
wanted to know what that was. So that maybe if when those books come out, I will want to read those to find out what it was. I'm just saying sometimes I understand the point of putting out something that's the strongest first, but there is that part of me
The
that the
completest
eight
part of
the completest
us
part
as
of me is
collectors.
like there's something that happened before and I want to know what it is.
Right, right.
Like, like I always get into these mindsets where I'm like, even when the books are not published in chronological order, I'm always like, what's the chronological order? Because I want to read it that way, right?
Yeah.
And
So I mean, just like I'm looking at the European comics chronological um releases. It was the eighth volume. Fable of
this one,
Venice
Oh
was the
wow.
eighth volume. Um, so yeah,
I mean, also, like this is the thing. I would also like to talk about Corto Maltese as a character because
yeah.
I find him super interesting because yeah, there's some Indiana Jones sort of thing to it, but it's really a lot more to make the easy connection. It's really a lot more Han Solo. Like
Or
I
even
don't think
Parker.
even Parker, I don't
Yeah,
think I don't think quite as cold-blooded as Parker can be, but uh very mercenary.
right.
Like people act like Indiana Jones is a mercenary character, but he really isn't. He's always
No,
acting for a higher level or a
it
higher
belongs in a
value.
museum.
Belongs in a museum. Um,
Fortune and glory, kid.
eh, Glory, but the fortune and glory is in putting it in a place where other people can see it.
Right.
Whereas,
Well, I would argue that at the beginning of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, he is a mercenary. And it's when he hears the children cry, that's when we see the birth of Indiana Jones as a hero.
when you
But we can get into
see,
that on another podcast.
But but what about in Young Indiana
wait a minute, wait a
Jones?
minute. Are you honestly saying that Temple of Doom has value as a story? Because there's many people who claim that it doesn't,
I
and
was I was
I
just we were just
disagree.
with one the other night.
Yeah. Um, yeah, no, no. I think that but I do think like taking all that aside, let's not
Right.
get lost in
That's
Indiana Jones
different.
conversation. But I think that Corto Maltese is uh there is that element, there is that sort of, it is kind of Parker-ish. I don't think he's that cold-blooded, but it definitely has that Han Solo, like he'll shoot first.
Oh
I
yeah.
think my
And
favorite, oh, go ahead.
go ahead.
So I think my favorite moment in in the whole series, it's not my favorite story, but I think, and it's in that, I think it's in Fable of Venice, where the guy is lying there dying, He says, "Tell me where it is." And Maltese says, "No." I'm like, "Why not?" "Because I'm mean." Because I'm mean.
Oh yeah, no, I think like the end of the last story, the gentleman of whatever it's called, I can't remember now. Um, just that oh yeah. I'm sorry. I'm flipping through it now and I'm really the seagull's fault and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I think that there is something so like
Yeah, I love that seagull image and just the
yeah.
idea of it.
I actually kind of forgot about that seagull story. That's a great fucking story. And I love I think that part of the other interesting thing is, and looking at it from a modern sensibility, is like I think all the female characters are they're pretty strong and self-actualizing, but they're not necessarily good people.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, like, and some people might call that misogynistic, but I think I don't. I think that
Well,
they're just villains.
yeah. And there's no real pandering, at least
No,
in this that I see. There's no cheesecake.
no.
Because Mr. Kniff could could do that.
Oh,
Um,
yes. Oh,
but yeah,
yes.
there was none of
Well,
that really.
I mean, like, look, I've already said I love the artwork, but I will say, like, there is no cheesecake, and I think that uh, his skills don't lean towards that. I think that even when he's drawing a quote unquote beautiful woman, um, it it just doesn't like to me. It's like, oh, that's interesting because it's not the drawing doesn't immediately make me say, "Oh my God, what a beautiful woman." It's not like just reading Jonah Hex and talking to Joey,
Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Jimmy, Jordy Bernay. They would always write women in because he drew beautiful women, and I think, quite honestly, I see a lot of continuity between Jody Bernay and Pratt in artwork. Just my thought. Jimmy and Jordy. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. Somebody else talk.
No, no.
I I have I have babbled long enough.
Well, and it's come up multiple times that I've fallen in love with really like paying attention to panel design and
Hmm.
whatnot. And first, I loved his use of the 12 panel grid, but
Hmm.
but then I love it even more when he'll just suddenly drop out of it. Um, I mean, during that first story, it's the Fable of Venice is almost entirely a 12 panel grid. I mean, it's a modified 12 panel grid in that like there'll be the double panel or the triple panel, but it's all the um but then I feel like there was
I will tell you
one
this.
page.
I'm flipping through I'm flipping through the Seagull story and I don't see a single. Oh, there's
No,
one 12
that
panel
that
page.
that was where I was about to go
Yeah.
is like the Fable of Venice is almost entirely a 12 panel grid except for page 39, which is close to a 12 panel grid except that we got rid of the grid lines.
Mhm.
Um and then like one of my favorite pages is the beginning of the Seagull story because like the flashback scene, the part that's supposed to
Yeah.
indicate his loss of memory is just like so brilliantly done. Um in such a way not just to uh,
And it's
emphasize
essential.
that confusion that he has, but I
Yeah.
love that it's one of those pages that you're supposed to read in like a curve. You
Right.
read right or left to right to left to right to left to right. But because of the way the like cloud, the clouds are drawn around it, it takes you all the way, and does so in a way where you realize that you're not completely in order. And I wonder if they are um publishing in internal chronological order, um
Mm.
just because this page seems to show tidbits of all of the stories that have come before it in this
Ah,
volume.
Hmm.
So at the very least, I think that this is supposed to be, after Venice, after.
Well, I mean, I think that it's certainly after Venice, but like, I don't know. I don't remember.
ah, Venice.
Oh, I don't remember all of it, so I don't know for
Sean,
sure.
I hate arrogant men. Sorry. You set it up for this, Tad. We're gonna do
Yeah,
Indiana
I
Jones
know.
jokes the whole
I, I,
way.
I, I,
Uh,
I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
but I don't remember like there is and maybe I'm just maybe my brain is not working here, but there is a couple of things in that cloud of memories that are not there's Tara, Tara, Taro. I don't remember him. Pandora. I don't remember Pandora.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just losing this. Maybe I'm losing the plot.
No, no.
It's been a little while since I read this.
As I was looking at it again, it fell apart in my thinking. Um,
John's got coffee grounds.
As can happen. Yeah.
That means he's smuggling drugs.
Every time I go through the airport with a pound of coffee, gonna need to look at your bag. Okay.
Um, yeah, no, no. I think that I will say I do think, and this kind of goes back to what you were saying, Ted. I think that part I will be honest, I got a little frustrated with the Venice story by about two-thirds of the way.
yeah.
And I think that it was a combination of a number of things. I felt like and I do think that this speaks to what you were talking about the evolution of the artwork.
Hmm.
Is that there was a lot, it felt to me like the story was absolutely exposition heavy. Like it was swamped in exposition. Um, and that's, I mean, Jesus Christ, what is this, page 55? It's a 12 panel grid, and the first like six panels are more dialogue than art, and four of them are the same guy, just in different angles. Uh, and I think that's kind of what was awesome about the second couple of stories is that the artwork just the action got more dynamic, right? And there was more stuff going on. I just felt like there was a lot of establishing shots. In filmmaking terms, it felt like there was a lot of two shots in that Venice thing
Hmm.
and my stupid hand. I'm going to lower my hand now in our recording. Um, but that's me being hyper, just getting really granular about the things I felt about it, um, because I was super excited. I was super excited to read this.
Right.
Never read this,
Yeah.
had known about it, had seen those things in the 80s, never picked it up, never looked at it, knew about it, was very excited. And I have to admit that by the time I got about, like I said, about two-thirds of that way through that Venice thing, I was like, oh, God, I hope that this picks up. And it did, for me. Um,
Right.
uh, and that's not to take anything away from like the story was interesting. The art is amazing. It's just it felt like somebody figuring it out rather than somebody who knew exactly what they were doing. So my assumption would be that the Venice story was pretty early in the process for him. Um, but I could be wrong. Who knows?
No, it actually looks like
No,
it's the 1977 part of it.
well, when you had said page 55, I actually turned to page 52 by accident, and that reminded me of something, when we talk about his influences, who did he influence? And um,
I
obviously
think I know who you're going to say.
Thompson, says Milo Manara
Hmm.
or Milo Manara. But
Wow.
this panel, I think there's a reason Frank Miller
Oh
used
yeah.
uh,
Oh yeah.
Corto Maltese in The Dark Knight. Looking at this page, it's page 52 here.
Yep.
Stevani here,
Yeah.
I'm looking at it, I was like, well, that's the Joker.
Right.
It's
100%.
whether that's
You know,
I think that has to be intentional.
Yeah.
do you know who else
Even the
I see in this?
grid lines um,
I
remind me of Dark Knight a bit in this, and part of
do you
that
know
is
who
good.
I see Kyle Baker in all this.
Yeah, I can see that too.
Yeah,
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead. You were
yeah. No, I don't know if that is you know your mind makes connections, right? So you're probably looking for Frank Miller connections in all this, uh,
Well, and
just
I
from my uh, first exposure to the words Cordo
well, I
Maltese.
mean,
But
even
to
even
me,
that.
it's obvious.
I mean, like I would say, like the other thing is, Frank Miller has said oftentimes that he feels like a trench coat is as much a cape as anything else,
right.
and I think Corto Maltese's trench coat or pea coat or whatever it is functions in that way as well. It's certainly a dynamic kind of visual thing, not as extreme as what Miller does, but it's definitely
Right.
part of it.
So I do think it's also interesting and kind of cool. I mean, particularly because we can see different styles at use, etc. But like uh, the first Corto Maltese is in 1967, so like 22 years into Pratt's career.
Yeah.
Um, he had definitely been honing his craft on a lot of things. That kind of wound up in this. Um, and I'm actually interested. Apparently, he adapted some classics. Kidnapped in Treasure Island. Um, I don't know which other ones that I wonder if there are English versions of, because I'm always interested in how an adaptation looks when it's done by somebody who
Hmm.
really, really values the work. Um, so yeah.
Hmm.
No, this is I'm quite happy to have finally read some Corto Maltese. I am looking forward to reading more. Um, as I now realize that it's the older stories with the more interesting panels, I wonder if a little like Kirby in his older age, he would sometimes give himself more structure for probably both speed and like
Well, I also wonder, like, there's a lot of times where it seems like there's stock, especially with Corto Maltese himself, it feels like there's somewhat stock images of him.
yeah,
This started with me when we see him in profile. It kind of reminds me of a little bit of Chester Gould and the way he drew Dick Tracy,
Dick Tracy.
like the and that maybe, as he got further along, he was like, oh, you know what, I can stat in this thing and, like here's this profile that I drew here. We'll just put it over there too.
You know what I
Uh,
just noticed? And like the fact that I just noticed says, I mean, A, it says a lot about how big the word balloons sometimes are, but B, it says a lot about how well he uses his characters and the backgrounds when he uses them. Um,
hmm
there's a massive number of his panels that really don't have any background.
hmm
Or definitely like limited background. You
Right.
know, you'll have, you'll know you're in the jungle because of the one tree trunk and the one leaf. And other ones will give you a much deeper one, but like particularly when there's
Yeah.
action going on, um he won't uh won't muddy the panel,
hmm
you know. I think that there's a certain amount of confidence required to do that. I think it's something that not always, but often that you see from artists later in their careers,
hmm
the willingness to. I mean, the first time I noticed it at all was like um the first panel in Saga where there was no background is like in the forest on the way to the rocket ship, well, on the way to the rocket ship forest, I guess, but the different forest. um but it was like a Marco mic drop moment. And it's like, oh, Fiona knew or Brian knew, somebody knew that this needed to be just Marco. Don't let anything, don't.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Um,
Well, I
I
think to Mark's point about the profile, it makes me think, that statue, the statue of Corto Maltese at Lake Geneva, he's angled away.
Unfortunately, the one in Switzerland, not the one in Wisconsin. So much harder to go see it.
Yes, yes, yes. But it's kind of angled away. So typically, a statue is where we're facing the statue, but he's facing the lake, and to where most people you're going to encounter it, seeing that profile.
Right.
hmm
And also, I will say that I Gould a couple of times did straight on shots of Dick Tracy, and it's the weirdest thing.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
always looks weird. Always looks weird.
There are no straight on shots in Archie. That's part of the style.
In
Wow.
Archie?
I'm
Yeah. Archie
uh,
will always be turning one way or the other.
right.
I've been rereading uh Archie, well, not rereading. I've been finally reading more of Married Life with Archie. I'll have to see if that's true
Yeah. I mean,
there.
that's the house style. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
Well, but I mean, anytime like Married Life with Archie is almost an Elseworlds
right.
Archie, and it's Norm Brayfogle, and I wonder if they like would be as
Yeah. I don't know about the
serious
new
about the
version.
style,
Yeah.
And I don't know how much
I'm
I mean, in terms of the new Archie, which is the stuff that I read the most of, um, I don't know if they have the same style rules going on.
And now with the Oni deal.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm particularly looking forward to new collections because I've been that the Archie collections that I've read have been
I,
um
I'm
go ahead.
sorry. I got totally off the subject because you talked about the Corto Maltese statue, and I was like, "There's a statue of Corto
Yep,
Maltese," and
yep.
I had to go look it up, and I'm like,
Well,
"What the hell is this?"
if you'd read there's a picture in
Yeah,
the
there's
book,
a
Mark.
picture. We could have
Look,
saved
Page
it.
man, I didn't go that
128.
far. I told you I don't
I
read
know,
the
I know,
editorial stuff.
I know.
Um,
Um, but
but
yeah,
I'm
no,
like,
really quick because otherwise it will stick in my head. All Archie collections that I've come across so far are kind of hit or miss. There'll be like one good story and three that I don't like. So I'm hoping that they've got some tighter best of type stuff.
well,
The
Have you read
good
the
duck
Mark Wade's?
collections.
Have you read Mark Wade's?
Yeah, yeah, but
Okay.
I'm talking because I know there's enough of the old school Archie that, but I wonder if it's like a good duck artist type thing, where like you have to really cherry pick, like, and if you read the Carl Barks, it's amazing, and if you
well,
read
Dan DeCarlo, Stan Goldberg.
right, but
but
I don't know how
like,
well they've been
look,
collected that way yet.
here's the other thing about Archie, and wow, this is way off subject, but I mean, like, look, Archie, like, it's a gag strip, it's like,
Yeah,
really, I mean, like, for the vast majority of the history of Archie, it's a gag strip, right? So, like, this idea that, like, you're gonna read one and you're gonna think that's pretty funny, and then you're gonna read two, they're like, ugh, and it's like, I think that that's just the nature of the beast. It's almost like, if you're looking at I know this is stuff that Sean loves, so he may disagree with me, but I think he probably will. It's like, if you read Richie Rich from issue one to whenever it ended, uh, you would probably find that, like, one out of four was a good, solid story, right? Would would you disagree with that?
Uh, well, I think you have to. We're not really the audience,
Of course,
right?
of course, yeah,
But yeah, I
well,
mean, look, there was a time I think Harvey was putting out, I don't know, 20
yeah,
Richie Rich titles. I
yeah,
mean, it was more than Casper. I mean, it was
right,
a lot of Richie Rich.
right.
Um, so yeah, to
Yeah,
keep
no,
quality
I'm
with
just
that
saying.
amount of quantity
I
would
mean,
be.
I think
but
that that's just
that's
the nature of the
essentially
beast.
but that's essentially exactly my point. Is that like if I'm really only expecting 1 in 10 to be good, I'd love it if somebody else curates that 1 in 10.
Now, I'm not saying that it's 1 in 10. I said 1 in 3. No,
No, I know you did. I was saying that my expectation is actually kind of lower than that because if for the simple reason that Archie strikes me as like one of even more than a lot of superhero comics, it strikes me as like the um soap opera of the comics world where they just make so many of them that like quality
but I,
control is really difficult,
yeah, no,
which
no,
doesn't
look,
mean that there's not great stuff there.
I'm just saying that, like, I think that you're absolutely right. There's a soap opera, but it's more like a sitcom, right? Because I
Right.
don't think for the okay, and I am
No,
talking
no.
about for the vast majority of the history of that book, right? It wasn't like a continuity that was going, like, it wasn't like, well, this
Right,
happened
right,
with Archie and Betty
but
last week.
uh,
So,
uh, I should clarify. I only compare it to a soap opera
in
in
quantity.
in quantity terms.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying, but I'm
The
Yeah.
just
soap
saying,
opera of the comic book world was the Triangle era of Superman.
Yes.
Uh, that should be
or
Which I've been thinking about
podcast at
revisiting
some
too.
point.
I would go to bat for the Stan Lee, John Romita Sr.
Yeah, yeah,
era of
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Spider-Man. That
right.
was soap opera.
Yeah.
Speaking of curation, I just one of the lovely gifts that my beautiful, beautiful wife got me for Christmas was this here, Unforgettable Stories, the Folio Society printing, uh, curated by Patton Oswalt and Jordan Bloom.
Nice.
So,
I
uh,
just saw that last night advertised. I didn't realize Patton put
uh,
it together.
uh,
Folio's having a sale too. To check.
yeah, I know. I I've actually been very much looking at their Captain America, Fantastic Four, and the Batman and Superman sets. Uh, but maybe even Spider-Man. It's a lot of money. But uh, I'm gonna
Don't put
say
those James Bond books on sale though.
yeah, I'm gonna say about this, which I am holding up because this is an audio thing, is uh I'm I love this. It's amazing. What a random collection of stories. I mean,
Well,
it's
I
stuff
mean,
that's like one issue of a continuing story, and you're like, okay, what happened before and after? Okay, I'll go look it up. Anyway, but yes, to the idea of curation. Um, yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about now.
well, the idea of curation is that like anytime you have something that's prolific but not necessarily
Well,
consistent, it's great to have a good. I mean, this is what a good comic shop does in terms of
Sure.
helping you get into superheroes. They
yeah,
say, look, if you love all of Spider-Man, then sure, read the Clone Saga. But if you think you might want to learn about Spider-Man, here, have Ultimate Spider-Man. And I know you're going, oh, but trust me, this is where you'll get to know Peter Parker better.
Oh my, you know, Ultimate
Are those
Spider-Man.
fighting? Are those fighting
Never,
words for you, Sean?
no, never did I misjudge a series worse than I misjudged Ultimate Spider-Man. I bought that first issue and I was like, man, do we have to go through all this again? And I just stopped. And
Yeah.
then about a year later, everyone was talking about how great it was. And so I bought a collection and I was like, oh, what did I do?
Yeah.
yeah.
Because
I
essentially it was, we
And
are going through all of this again, but we're going through it in a much more readable, enjoyable, and compact manner.
loved it. One of
I
my
might
favorite
argue with
series
the readable
ever.
and enjoyable, but I mean, like it's just as readable and just as enjoyable for me. I like because I was with Sean. I was like, "What is this? I don't need this. I don't
Right.
want this. I this." And then I got the first trade, and I was like,
Yep.
"This is fucking incredible." And
Hmm.
then I went back, and I still never bought the first six issues, and now I can't afford to buy the first six issues. But I have every issue from seven onward and the first
Right.
trade. So,
Yeah.
I've got
and
one and then 13 on.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think I have. It is the only two series that I can say that are 21st because yeah, it was 21st century series that I have every single issue of is Ultimate Spider-Man and Jonah Hex.
Right. I mean, I don't have every issue of Ultimate Spider-Man because my kids were born when it was still running, so I had to drop off. But I think I have the double because I don't know if you guys remember because both of the first two issues sold out. They did a second printing that was the two of them together. So I don't have an issue one, but I have an issue one and two,
Ah.
and I have two onward until at least I think 50.
Mhm.
Um, I think I'm
That,
closer to having all of Powers though in 21st Century series.
the Ultimate Spider-Man, another great soap opera comic, really.
Yeah.
And
Well,
uh,
except that the curation was done on the spot.
right. And yeah, I mean it's a little easier when you have it kind of mapped out. Although
Yeah,
they varied and made it
they
interesting enough, made enough
right.
changes. It's like I think Under the Dome, the Stephen King miniseries, people were complaining about it, making so many changes, and Stephen King was like, "Well, why? If they're not going to change anything, why would they even make it?
Yeah.
Like, what's in it for you
Right.
to watch it if they're not going to change anything?"
I have Stephen King's attitude towards that sort of stuff is so awesome.
Yeah.
Because like if you contact him and you want to do a student film version of one of his short stories or something, he'll be like, send me $1. And then every time somebody complains about something, he's like, look, man, it's right there on the shelf. You want to read it? There it is. Like, but this was this adaptation. And like, what
Right.
a fucking healthy attitude about stuff.
Yeah.
But to that point, I will say that because Sean said that, I went and looked at the Folio Society. One of the books that's on sale, Sean, is The Hulk.
I saw that, and to your point, Immortal Hulk #2 is included, which
Yeah.
seems a bit,
But not number one.
but not #1. Because I looked at the selection just to be curious, and it comes with a facsimile of Hulk 1.
Right.
Did Patton's book come with a facsimile, or
No, it did not.
because I know all
It
this?
did not. But it is one of the ones that's on sale, along with the Bronze Age, Silver Age, and Golden Age sets.
Hmm.
And the Spider-Man one that you have, or the Marvel
I don't have this.
Unforgettable Stories. The
Yeah, oh,
the one
yeah,
you
that
have,
one's,
that's on
yeah, that's
sale.
the one. Yeah, yeah. But so anyway, sorry, I'm yabbering
Anyway,
now.
I guess back to Corto Maltese, I guess.
Yeah, we should probably talk about this.
Um, yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned that cloud panel from the
Yeah.
seagull. That looking at that again, it's just masterful, and it reminds me of when I had said, um, when I'd mentioned Kubert, you know, just it's a very inventive panel that I love,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the seagull always makes me think of the Rime of the Ancient Mariner.
That's it.
Sorry, I'm going down the rabbit hole now. The
No,
Captain America is sold
I
out.
would. I was starting to go down the rabbit hole too, but I was also before we went down that rabbit hole. I was actually starting to wrap us up because I felt like we kind of hit what we have to say about this. I think
Yeah, I think so. Now we're just talking
Yeah.
about other stuff. So, yeah,
right.
but I think
Though I think I loved it enough that like I will continue to try to get us advanced copies of Corto Maltese as Fantagraphics puts them
I
out,
would,
and
I
B,
would be,
as
And
they come out, I think it would be fun to do,
yeah,
because this is definitely some like heavy DNA of everything that we've been doing
yeah.
in this book club.
and this
Um,
first edition is going to be black and white, so you can really look at the line work, right?
right.
Yeah.
I think they
Uh,
all are
no, I believe
because
that the others are going to be full color.
are they?
Yeah.
Then I'm not buying them. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, this it's a
Yeah.
joke. It's a joke. You should all buy these because look, this is one of those things like this kind of stuff, maybe this kind of stuff. Like if you're a lover of this form, of this work, of graphic storytelling. These are the kind of things that you should go out and look at. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe you don't need to buy the whole run or anything like that, but I mean like take a look at it because like we said, there's so much DNA of so many things in this, both leading to it and coming out of it, that
Right.
it's so fun to read. I mean, and like we didn't even get into like story stuff.
No.
I think that
Which
I
which
mean,
I mean isn't even really. I mean, we talked a little bit about the first story dragging. I mean, I really
yeah,
think that the four-part Venice thing could have been a tighter two or
yeah.
three
I think
part, and I would have liked it more.
hmm
Um, but like,
And that is
eh,
that, and I say again, that is a very light criticism.
yeah,
It
yeah, yeah, yeah. But I think part of the reason we didn't wind up talking a lot about story is that um the story is important and how it is told is more important.
right.
You know,
Yep.
like when you talk about Raiders of the Lost Ark, you don't spend a lot of time talking about the plot. In fact, when you start talking about the plot is when you sometimes do horrible things like realize that like other than getting it to the warehouse, if Indiana Jones hadn't been there at all, everything else still would have happened. The Nazis would have found the Ark. They would have opened it on the island. They all would have died.
No, no, if not for Indiana Jones, they would have just taken it straight to Berlin,
And then they would have killed
and then
Hitler.
they would have killed Hitler. So really,
Oh,
Indiana
okay.
Jones
So that's
must
So
have
possible.
Indiana
woken up.
Jones made it
Prolonged the
possible.
war.
Indiana Jones made it possible for that story to exist and not break history.
It's a good argument. I like that.
I mean, look,
Actually,
It is my favorite movie, but still,
uh, that is the movie that I would say of any film is perfect.
I agree with you. I love that movie.
I think that movie
Um,
is absolutely perfect.
it is,
That doesn't mean it's the
which
best. It's perfect.
which
Everything
is
is what it needs to
right.
be.
It's
right,
not, it's my favorite movie. It's
Yeah.
not the
right,
best movie ever made, but it's my
right.
favorite.
Um,
It fights
have
with 1941 for my favorite movie.
right. Have you
Just
guys
kidding.
how
Tad is desperately trying to end the podcast.
no, actually I was going to take us slightly down a Indiana Jones rabbit hole. Have you guys read any of the comics? Would it be worth trying to
Uh, I will tell you this. The first time I ever tried to subscribe to a comic book was the
yeah?
Marvel The Further Adventures of Indiana Jones series.
I have some of those.
And
Some of those are Ditko.
I, yes, and John Byrne did the first two issues.
Yep.
And I got
The Icons of Icomina.
my first issue of my subscription was the final issue of the series.
Look, Herb Trimpe did a lot of the
Yeah.
art. Steve Ditko did
Right.
a lot of the art on
I
that one.
I I would it would be fun to revisit that series. I
I
don't
have
remember
every
it.
issue.
Ouch. Woo!
Further Adventures of Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
I do not, but we all know that I got rid of almost all of my comics. Uh,
I can manage to procure reader copies for us if we're interested. Did you do any of the Dark Horse
don't
stuff
don't
later?
ask how. I
Few
I
of
did
them.
read I did read some of the Dark Horse. I certainly don't have any of it left.
Yeah,
Um,
I have some of the Dark Horse like compendiums and
I
I felt like they were like the Marvel stuff had been inconsistent, but because it was mostly one and done inconsistent, it wasn't, it was kind of like the Shadow that we read
yeah.
versus the Dark Horse was all miniseries and some of them were just not good.
Right. Spear
Yeah,
of
no,
Destiny, I
like
remember liking.
Spear of
Right.
Destiny was good.
Some of them were very good.
They did one that was based on that game. But
Monopoly.
no, the Indiana Jones video game that was a point and click adventure game that everybody
I
loves so
remember that
much.
game. I had that
Uh,
game.
Mark just looked at
be,
me as if he was Murray Hamilton, stopped on top of a Ferris wheel with Eddie Deason.
it's not gonna be hard at all. I hate that guy. Anyway, uh, no, this does lead to I have been trying to play Indiana Jones and the new video game, the Circle of Life or whatever the hell it is. I can't play it. No, no, no.
You can't play it because it's not good, or you can't play it because it
It's
crashes.
it crashes, which
Fate
is
of Atlantis, I think, was
no,
the game.
Fate of Atlantis was the one that we were talking about. And
Yeah,
actually there were a couple of like first and second generation console games that I really loved. It was like The Emperor's Tomb and
right.
something else. This is like they've done it all in first person. So there's no like action sequences. Like if you get involved in a fist fight with somebody, you're dead. And it's not even like, and I've tried reducing the difficulty level. It's just people sneak up on you, and it's like a stealth game. You like sneak into things, and that's certainly part of Indiana Jones, but like the whole framework is I can't stand this game. And I hate it because I have played through and thoroughly enjoyed almost every Indiana Jones video game they've ever put out, and I want them to put out more, but I'm just like I'm just like I this it's not an enjoyable experience for me.
Yeah.
I need a mod where it makes it third person, and that would at least make me feel a little more involved in it. Strangely enough, it's just like I
Well,
so,
no,
and
I
we're
mean,
talking about video
I,
games, and I don't, but
I,
it's like the
when you said first person, I just found myself going, um, but, but then you don't even have the hat. I mean, so it
you
only
know,
feels like Indiana Jones when you
so there's
have,
this game
Well, you're
mechanic,
wearing the hat.
right? So
I
there's
mean,
this game
but you
mechanic when
have to
you,
you're sitting in
see
your
the,
basement wearing the hat.
oh,
but like one of the game mechanics is when
I
you
mean, I
get
don't know how
knocked
you feel.
out, when you get knocked down, your hat is laying there and you can crawl
oh.
over and put it back on and get some energy back. And I'm like, this is the dumbest mechanic I've ever heard of. But
I
and
get knocked
okay,
down and I get up again.
yeah.
Never gonna keep
Um,
me down.
but like the one of the things that happened just in the last couple of weeks is there's also this Avatar game, and I know I'm not. I actually kind of enjoy the world of Avatar. I don't think they're the greatest movies of all time, but I enjoy the visuals of it. So they have a video game that was all first person. So I tried playing it and I got really frustrated and I stopped. But now they've just released an update that you can play it all third person. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go revisit this game now because it seems like something that I can enjoy. Because what I want to see the person that I'm supposed to be.
That's what I'm
Like,
saying.
especially if you're playing an iconic character,
Right.
like I want to see Indiana Jones.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah,
rant
yeah.
over. And
That was totally my part.
that's why when that Corto Maltese game comes out,
We'd better be able to see the
you
sailor
better
hat.
be able to
Right.
see it should all be in profile.
Yeah.
It's just one of those platform games where
I mean, no,
it's
that's the
somebody
Dick
should
Tracy game.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that somebody should pitch a Dick Tracy video game that's all in profile all the time. Anyway, okay, I
Uh,
think we're completely
Now we're
off the rails now.
totally off the
Is
rails,
is
and I
Warren
got
Beatty a
grandkids and stuff.
subscriber?
I
That's who
don't
we
think
got to
so.
talk to.
I mean, if he is, like, Patreon,
Yeah.
Jesus, yeah, but
My
patreon.com
love to Annette.
slash
yeah,
slash 22
dear
panels,
God,
you can pay for hosting or my new
stop,
PlayStation or whatever.
stop squelching every Dick Tracy project that comes up, Warren. Come on. Anyway,
So,
Oh,
you're 90 years old. You're not going to play Dick Tracy again. I'm sorry.
well, now
Tracy zooms in.
he wants to play Lips or one of the wrinkly guys. He'd be perfect
Uh,
for it.
I
Now
look,
he's really not going to give me his money.
yeah, well, and I'm actually a big fan of that movie. I think it's
It's a
gorgeous.
great
It
movie.
is a good movie.
Yeah.
It is a good movie.
I mean, and it's
I used to have the poster on my wall.
very true to the comic. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No.
I even believe Warren Beatty when he says when they asked him about like, well, why didn't you do makeup on yourself to make you look more like the drawing? And he's like, I'm the one character you have to look at the whole movie, and at a certain point, a makeup design that's kind of totally designed to always be in profile is not going to work.
Let's
And I
see.
was like, that makes sense.
It
Anyway,
does.
sorry, we are way off the reservation, and
I mean,
we've been
again,
on for
this is what I adore about book club, but I do have grandkids and they are here. And my mother and brother have been kind enough to keep them at bay, but I should probably go spend
yes.
some time with them.
Go see
So
some go spend some time with your spawn. No.
yeah, so
And I say that with love and sweetness
so
and sweetheart.
have you read any Gunslinger Spawn after talking to
No,
Jimmy?
no.
Oh, the
I
I want to
honestly
say
the
the
last
first collection's about to come out.
I will definitely check that out because I love Jimmy. I love Jimmy's
Right.
work. I love Jimmy's
Well,
writing.
and it's mystery, or it's I'm sorry, it's westerns again.
Western.
So I mean, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that is that's definitely there's lots of stuff on my list. This last 2 weeks has been sort of
Oh, I get it.
uh
Yeah.
plus I'm getting through some of the stuff that Colleen got for me for Christmas. I also
Right.
got a graphic novel called Lucas Wars, which is sort of a
I have that on Kindle, but I haven't read it yet, but I need to.
yeah. I'm
Have you
about
started it?
20% into it. It's very fun.
Yeah, I've been
Like
excited
as
about it since they announced the translation. So,
yeah, as somebody who knows an awful lot about Lucas, I can tell you there's plenty of stuff that they just sort of bump over. And but
of
that's
course.
like myself and the plays I wrote, there's no room to be critical of that. I'm just saying
Right.
that it's there because like
Right.
it's clear that it makes the storytelling better. So,
Well,
um,
I mean, what I talked to, and I'm remembering this because my wife kindly made a sweatshirt for me with the dancing or one of the dancing scenes from it. But I talked to Leonie Bischoff about her Anna East Nin book, and one of the
Mhm.
things that she did that she thinks you almost have to do to make it really good, and particularly in comic form, but really in any biography that's not some big huge tome, is pick a particular period or event
yeah,
and just stick to that
right.
because if you try to go from birth to death, you just
I mean, this thing
it
starts
becomes too hard to tell a good story.
it starts earlier than I thought it would. Um, it does go into his childhood and stuff, but it also relates it all to Star Wars.
Okay.
So, like, and again, I'm looking at my Kindle right now. I'm 18% into it. So,
Right.
like, the whole thing could fall apart in the next 5 pages. The other thing that
I mean, it's really well regarded, so I think that
yeah,
that's unlikely.
You
Particularly
um,
guys remember
because
George Lucas in Love, that short film? Fantastic.
yes.
Fantastic.
I will say I did like the in the book, the relationship with Marcia is nicely done.
Nice.
Uh, and also doesn't fall into that trap of saying, well, Marcia did it all, which I just don't 100% believe. The other thing I read that relates back to this is I did finally get to issue 50 in Jonah Hex and count it out because of Jimmy's insistence. Jonah does kill 50 people in
I
that
love
book.
it. I love it.
And uh, it's also, I had forgotten how great a Tallulah Black story it is.
It is.
And uh, I love how Darwin Cook draws Tallulah Black.
Yeah.
It's not as
Well,
viscerally scarry, but it's really nicely done.
that is the perfect place to wrap up
Yeah.
for Mark Pratt, for Sean Harklerode. This has been the Pulp Blotter on 22 panels, and we will see you after the next page.